Hi, it's Paul from Model Builder International. What we're going to do today is have a look at a paper panzer from Modelcollect, E-75 self-propelled gun, 1/72, over 200 parts. Okay, so what do we get in the box? First off, the chassis is the same as the other E-75 kits. Basically, it's just a new whole top. And it says there PE set and metal barrel. So let's have a look, see what we get. Standard opening box, it's pretty thick cardboard. There's the new, basically the new parts, the whole top. There's the whole bottom. Everything is in one bag, so that's good. So looking here, and in the bottom of the box we get, there's the metal barrel, there's the decal sheet, and their usual instructions, parts layout, and then working through the steps. Usually pretty straightforward, usually pretty well detailed, and a colour scheme there as well. So what I'll do is we'll go through these a step at a time, have a look at the relevant parts for each step as we go through. If you want to look at more photographs or close-up photographs of the sprues, the parts we're going to look at, and other parts, head on over to the website. The link is underneath the video. So let's move on to the next bit. So what we'll do now is we'll go through the instructions. You can see here's the front sheet of the instructions, an overview of the vehicle that was never produced. Even the designs hadn't been finalized, so there's a certain amount of guesswork involved in what it would have actually looked like in the end, but it's a pretty neat looking kit all the same. Then we've got the usual safety instructions, the little guide as to what the icons mean, and how to apply the decals. Then we get on to the sprue layout, and there's a pretty good diagrams here. If your eyes are good enough, I believe you can actually read the numbering on the sprues as well. The only thing that's missing here is saying that the track sprue, there's actually 2 of them. But it looks like everything is used, there's nothing greyed out, but if there was something left over I wouldn't be surprised, since this is basically a variation on Modelcollect's E-75 tank kit. So now on to the first step of the instructions itself, and what I'll do is I'll put up some images of the parts that are involved in each of the steps. If you want to see the sprues, like I said before, use the link underneath this video in the comments, and go have a look. There'll be a full gallery on the website with all these images you're going to see here, plus all the sprue images and some more images as well. So the first step, starting on the upper hull, and we put the metal barrel in, and we wrap a piece of PE around the metal barrel to make a pepper pot muzzle brake. Pretty straightforward. Step 2 is adding tools, hooks for draping camouflage, and tools on the side as well. Step 3, basically the same as step 2, except you're putting the parts on the right hand side of the upper hull. Step 4 is putting parts on top of the hull, basically photo etch grills. Looks like an infrared night vision device goes on the top there. That little item in the bottom left hand corner, made from D9 and a PE part, that's the looks like it's the hatch that goes on the top. Step 5, real simple, fitting the doors in the plate at the back of the hull, and then fitting that plate in place. Step 6, starting on the running gear, putting the driving and trailing sprockets together, and putting some pieces for the suspension together. Now over the page in step 7 is basically mostly fitting the parts you just built in step 6 and fitting those, plus another bit more of the suspension. Step 8, fitting all the road wheels, all the interleaved wheels and the drive and trailing sprockets. Step 9 is at the back, fitting the exhaust shrouds, and the jack goes on at this stage as well. Step 10 is the tracks, Lincoln length tracks, one sprue for each side. They look pretty nicely detailed. Personally, I kind of prefer the Lincoln length ones. Apart from the metal tracks, I find most of the so-called working plastic tracks, there's issues with getting them together. Step 11 is fitting the back of the engine compartment, fitting that plate in place on the lower hull. And step 12 is basically bringing all the big parts together, the upper hull, the lower hull, put those together, and then fitting the mudguards either side and a couple of towing brackets. So a pretty straightforward build, lots of parts. And then the last one is a painting guide. All the paints are called out in ammo colours, which are pretty accurate for the late war. There's only one guide here, but obviously it's a vehicle that was never built, so you can pretty much use whatever colours you want, really. There's nobody going to say that you were wrong. The decals are shown on the vehicle. You've got a good set of decals with loads of options. You've got lots of numbers, so you can actually change the numbers to whatever you feel like, and you can mix and match it up a little bit. So overall, for a 1/72 scale kit, it's a lot of parts. It's nicely detailed. The sprues themselves, the attachment points are all small. The ejector pins seem to be all on the actual sprues themselves, not the parts. So overall, it's a very nice kit. It looked very nice on the shelf with a collection of what-if vehicles for Germany in 1946. Many thanks to Modelcollect for sending along for us to have a look at. Don't forget to subscribe to the video channel and go to the website to have a look at more images.